CMA Ashish Bhavsar, Secretary and PD Committee Chairman, and on behalf of CMA Vinay sir, Vice Chairman and Chairman CP Committee, I welcome you all to the webinar series on Excel Macro that we are going to start today. Uh, so I welcome you all to this first webinar series. Uh, our faculty and speaker of this Excel macro series is Mr. Nachiket sir, who is chartered accountant, chartered financial analyst, CISA and DISA qualified. He has been worked as a global MNCs like Citibank, Dutch Bank, HSBC Bank in the fund accounting domain. In 2012, he quit the corporate job and started his own business in corporate trainings. He conducted trainings on MS Office applications, Power BI, and Caseware India, a CAT tool. He helps professionals in securing Microsoft and Apple certificates. Since 2015, he has been conducting forensic audit for regulators, authorities like EOW and SEBI. Uh, his focus lies in data analytics and providing insight based on the detailed detection of red flags. Since 2020, he has been conducting IS audit, cyber security audits, KYC audits for stock brokers. Additionally, he helps corporates automate their Excel-based work processes using VBA macros. He creates macros based on solutions to carry out tedious tasks smoothly with minimum or no manual intervention. He also develops financial models. He stood globally 27th and second in India in the prestigious Model of Financial Modeling Championship in 2019 edition. Sir, I welcome you to this series on macro uh, Excel macros. Sir has already shared with us one Excel file and one zip folder for the tutorial purpose. The link of the same we have WRC admin has already shared Google Drive. So I request all to download the same. Apart from that, we have also mentioned in our flyer that this series of macros has interlink and has a continuous sessions. So it is advisable to everybody to have attend all the sessions so that we can get maximum benefit of Excel macros, and it will help us to reduce our day-to-day work. And I am sure with the expertise of Nachiket sir, we can able to utilize macros in our day-to-day work of Excel. So with this, I request Nachiket sir to start his session. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ashish Bhavsar, sir, and a warm good evening to everybody. Just one quick confirmation I would like to seek before we get started. Is my voice clearly audible to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Can everyone hear me? Okay, thank you very much. At any point, if you feel, because we are connected through online medium, so at any point, if you feel that there is any lag or the voice is not properly audible or there is some technical issue, do let me know. You can type in the chat box. Okay. Since we are connected through online medium, I request everyone to by default keep their mics off. Okay. And wherever possible, if simple questions are there, those you can put in the chat box. I will be visiting the chat box from time to time, and we'll definitely pick up the questions and answers. We'll try to answer them. If required, you can turn the mic on, but then once your question is asked, like if you want to voice out something, you can speak. But then once you finish speaking, then you can again put it on off. So that way, the background noises and the other echoes and other things we can avoid. Okay. And second important thing is this series of webinars is going to be completely practical series. So I request everyone to participate ideally on a laptop or a desktop. Okay, you should have a laptop or a desktop wherein you are practicing this thing along with me. It may not be even a bad idea to have two machines if possible. That on one machine you are viewing my screen because I'll be sharing my screen. So you can view my screen and on another machine you can practice. But if that is not possible, then at least on one machine you must definitely participate. Okay, so don't really participate on mobile phone. That may not serve the purpose as much. Uh, Another reason to participate on a laptop or a desktop is so that you can, uh, if you face any difficulty, you can also share your screen and probably we can help you. Okay. The success of this will depend upon your active involvement. So please get actively involved. Do the exercises. I'll be going at a moderate speed at any point of time. If you have any difficulties, you can raise them, but you must participate. Okay. When I say participate, it's not just connect in the meeting, but and listening to the speaker, but also you must do the actions because this is 100% practical oriented. Okay. There is a chat message with the name WRC admin. Okay, it was shared on 7:12 p.m. just a few seconds back, and there is a link from there. Download certain files. We'll need those files. Okay, we are supposed to work on those files. So there is a link in the chat box. Please refer to that and download those exercise files. Okay. So on this note, I would like to get started. If everyone's ready, is everyone ready? Should we get started? Okay. The link is shared once more, just for immediate reference. Thank you. So, what is a macro? Let us have a little quick talk over a minute or two. What is a macro? It may not be a new concept to many of you, but still, in the interest of everyone's awareness, let's first discuss what is a macro. So, macro is a program. Okay, in simple words, it is a program which you can write in Excel. Excel is typically viewed as a business user application, and as a business user application, it has immense utility. There is no denial to that. Okay, but then you want to go one step beyond and you want to wear the shoes of a developer. Does Excel support that? The good news is yes, Excel does support that. So, for example, say I want to make my own function called economic order quantity. We all have studied economic order quantity. So I want to make my own function for economic order quantity. Why? Because MS Excel doesn't have EOQ as a function, right? So this becomes a possibility that if you acquire the necessary skills, fundamentally you can create your own function called EOQ. You can have that in your Excel application and you can use it in any Excel file. Okay, this is just one example. Or suppose if you have got some Excel based work process which you find tedious or which is time consuming or which is highly voluminous or for any other reason you decide that I don't want to do it that work process manually. I would rather like to write a program and just make the program do it. I'll press a button and at the click of a button, the program should do all the work. That is very much possible. Technically, it is totally feasible. And that is what we mean by a macro. Okay. So we are going to learn over 10 sessions how to write a macro. And our purpose is going to be primarily from our own work perspective. Before we go ahead, I think there is one question. Somebody had raised hand. One second. I think somebody had raised hand. Does anyone want to ask any question? Feel free. Somebody wants to ask something. Okay. All right. No problem. Yeah. So moving on, I hope everybody has downloaded the exercise files. So what I'll do now is I'll share my screen and we will get started. Okay, please do these things with me. I'm about to share my screen now. Okay, can everyone see my screen? Okay, these are the exercise files. I hope you have downloaded these. These are just some initial files. I'll be sharing more files as we progress. But to begin with, let us consider these files and let us move ahead. As Sir mentioned, Ashish Sir mentioned at the beginning that we will be like this entire 10 session series is one consolidated program. For convenience, it has been broken over a session of 10, over 10 sessions, but one is supposed to attend all the programs. There might be some genuine difficulties due to which you might miss one or two sessions. That's another part. But in an ideal situation, attend all 10 if not possible. Then at least barring one or two exceptions, you should attend all of them. I mean, it may not help if you attend only the third session, fifth session, and the ninth session, because you will not understand what was discussed previously and what how it is logically taken ahead. That also you will miss. Okay, so just be
Screen
stay
is not
committed.
visible.
Screen is not visible. Okay, let me try once more.
Screen is
All
visible,
right,
sir. Not an issue. It is visible.
visible, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. I felt so.
Visible.
See, of course, I was not doing anything. I was just
Yes, yes.
speaking. But as such, can you see my screen where we have a list of files here? I request everyone to open this first file. Okay, two things I had shared. I shared a zip folder which you are supposed to unzip, and then it opens it up here. And then there is a 99 macro code library. So, what could be the useful codes that those have compiled together? And I'll come to this library file at a later suitable point of time. Right now, we will start at the very basics. So I request everyone to open this first file, which is Introduction to Excel Macros. Let us first get ourselves introduced to this concept. Please open this file. Our discussion will be largely version neutral. So you might have any Excel version, it doesn't matter. But ideally, higher the version, better it is, generally speaking. But from a macros perspective, it will hardly matter. Okay. Now, if you look at my ribbon, if you glance at my screen and if you look at my ribbon, you might see that I've got a tab called developer. Most likely you don't have this tab. You have the other tabs like home tab, insert tab, page layout tab. But in your Excel, you don't have a developer tab. This developer tab is not compulsory if you want to use Excel as a business application. I mean, in fact, I will go ahead and say that it has got absolutely no relevance if you are purely using it as a business user. But the moment you show the slightest interest in developing Excel macros, this developer tab becomes very important. So let us get started by enabling this developer tab, because this tab is going to contain those tools that will help us to write macros. How to enable the developer tab? Let us see. I request everyone to click on the file button. Can you see file button at the top extreme left? Okay, I'll try to go slowly and steadily at an average pace. Okay, but if you feel that there is any confusion, you can let me know. Acha, one more thing, please adjust your screen in such a way so that you can parallelly see MS Teams application also, and you can see your own Excel as well. Okay, so just in case you are using a single computer, not two computers, then you need to divide your screen such that both the applications are visible side by side. Okay, just suitably adjust your windows. All right, and then you go to, okay, visible everyone. All right, fine. Please come to File tab. At the bottom of File, you have Options. Okay, File tab, then Options, and this launches this Excel options window. Within that, we have customize ribbon. Okay, I'll repeat. Suppose you go to file button, you click on file, then you go to options at the bottom, and then you have customize ribbon. Okay, when you come to customize ribbon, you can see all your main tabs over here. There are a few tabs enlisted. One of them is developer, which most likely may be unticked at your end. If it is unticked, please tick it. Okay, you are supposed to tick this checkbox developer, and once it is ticked, then press the OK button. Okay, tick developer and press OK. And now this tab starts appearing in your Excel ribbon. Is that your situation? Okay, is everyone getting it? File, options, customize ribbon, then developer to be ticked and press OK. Now when you do so, developer starts appearing. Got it? Okay. Now whenever we catch a flight, before we even board the flight, the first step is security. Correct? We need to pass the security, and then we get a chance to sit in the aircraft. Yes or no? So similarly, before we take off on this macros journey, let's pass to the security. And by security, I mean this macro security. I hope everyone has got the developer tab enabled now. In the developer tab, can you see macro security button? Okay, we are going to explore this macro security. Why at all are we discussing macro security? What's the relevance of macro security? Okay, this macro security comes into picture because macro is a program. We already discussed that. And if I write a program, there are two possibilities. I can either write a good program which can benefit you, or I can write a malicious program which can harm you. So Excel macros can be one form of a virus. And that's where you need to set an appropriate security level so that you end up uh, protecting yourself. It should not happen that somebody sends some infected, malicious file to you and you fall prey to that. So, how can you save yourself? At a later point, we will see that some of the macros get triggered on their own. They don't even need a click of a button. Even though nothing happens from your side, still the macro may run on its own. Okay. How can you save yourself from that? So, we'll see that. Okay. So, now please come to this macro security. Press this macro security button. Do this with me. And as you click this button, you can see 4 levels of macro settings. Okay. There are a couple of checkboxes also, but we'll ignore them for now. Just look at these 4 option buttons. First one is disable VBA macros without notification. Okay, na rahega bas, na bajegi basuri. That means if you disable VBA macros without notification, macros simply won't work. Now, this option is good for someone who is never going to use macros. If you know you are not going to use macros, you don't foresee that. Why at all keep that slightest risk? So, this is like a risk avoidance strategy. You are completely avoiding the risk, even the minutest, remotest risk that a macro may cause harm to you. But we don't belong to that group. We belong to the other group where we would like to definitely use macros and maybe actively develop them. So in that case, the first option is not suitable for us. Look at the second option. Second option is disable VBA macros with notification. So macros do stay disabled, at least to begin with, but you can enable them if you want to. That's because you will get a notification, and this might be your common experience that certain files, like income tax department file, if you download their Excel utilities, when you open them, they ask you to enable the content. Okay, if you, just in case you are using the Excel utilities of income tax department or service tax department, previous service tax, now GST. You use certain tools developed by them. They have macros. They have effectively developed macros, and we can use them only if we enable the content. Third is disable VBA macros except digitally signed macros. Now this makes more sense when only digitally signed macros are supposed to take off. And if the macro doesn't have a digital sign to it, then it will not take off. So this is when this may make more sense if I'm a corporate and I don't want my people to develop macros on their own. But there are certain authentic uh, developed macros which I want to use, which may have a digital sign. KTG, you are facing this difficulty. You don't have VBA options. Are you still facing that difficulty? When you say VBA options, means these four options you don't have. Okay, you need to go come to the developer tab, click on macro security. These four options will be there. Below that, there might be a checkbox that you can ignore. Okay, you don't have those four options. So, are you into the trust center? Okay, we have the trust center window, and within that, right now, we are into macro settings. Okay, trust center macro settings. That's where you are. And it shows all macros instead of VBA macros. Ah, that is fine. Okay, I think that's a wording different. Okay, disable all macros or disable VBA macros. I think you are talking about the wording. So I suppose we are having different versions of Excel, so there is a slight difference in the wording. That's fine. Okay, so that's slightly different wording that we may ignore. But fundamentally, I think our language is largely similar. That disable macros except digitally signed macros. And the fourth option is enable macros, whether VBA macros or all macros. So enable macros, and there is a disclaimer here: not recommended, potentially dangerous code can run. This is a stage where you feel, kind of bored or irritated that every time you open, say, an income tax Excel utility, every time you are required to first enable the macros, because when you go for the second option, disable with notification, every new session of that file, every time you will have to enable it. If you find that boring, you can go for the fourth option, wherein you say you would like to enable the macros once and for all. But then Microsoft puts a disclaimer. Microsoft doesn't really recommend it. It says potentially dangerous code can run. Okay, that's what Microsoft is saying. So you might wonder why Microsoft has even given that option. I think Microsoft might have received too much feedback from the users that we find that irritating. Please allow us to enable. So at your own risk, if you want, you can enable. I don't recommend it, but ultimately, if you want it, I'm here to make business. I'm here to make profits. So I will give you that option, but I will make my legal position very clear by putting a disclaimer, right? What we are going to do is we'll choose this second option. Okay, just in case any other option is selected, let us first select the second option and only then let us proceed. Okay, because playing with macros can be playing with fire at times. It's great to have fire at your home. I mean, if you want to do cooking or something, but there's also the risk if you don't control it properly, the entire house may get burned down. Okay, so set the appropriate security setting. Second option you must choose and then press OK. I hope everyone is with me now on this count. All right. Most likely that was your default option, but now we are familiar with all the different options and we have made a conscious choice. All right. So first thing that we discussed is macro security. Now let's understand the next thing. Next thing is how we are going to write the macros. Because who are we? We are cost and management accountants. We are cost accountants. We are not programmers, developers. So how will we write this? Because we don't know the language. There was mention of VBA, right? We saw that word VBA. VBA stands for Visual Basic for Applications. Okay, I'm typing that in the chat box. This is the full form of VBA, Visual Basic for Applications. This is a programming language, but we never learned this language, right? Barring one or two exceptions in this audience, I don't think anybody has really learned this language or any programming language for that matter. Okay, and definitely, even if you have learned it at some point of time, maybe in your school days, college days, by profession, we are not programmers. So this becomes a great constraint. And to overcome this constraint, Microsoft has given you one more facility that is called as macro recorder. Can you see this button, record macro? Okay, we have a button called record macro. Don't really click it right now, but just make a mental note of it. We have a button called record macro. Okay, what does this button imply? This button says that if you click on that, what can happen possibly is you can run macros. You can take actions. And as you take certain actions, you want to automate your work, just do it once. Show it to Excel. As you perform, as you show it, Excel will write the code on its own. So Excel itself is writing code for you. And life gets simpler than this. Okay, let's take up a small exercise to explore this particular facility. Is everyone ready for that? Okay, I hope everyone's ready. Let's get started with this exercise of recording a macro. Okay, come to this particular file. Click on this record macro button. Please don't go ahead of me. Stay with me. Okay. And one more thing, once we start the recording, I want everyone to follow the steps uniformly. Okay, I respect the individual styles of each and everyone. But the reason why I'll be slightly imposing my style on you momentarily is because if we perform uniform steps, then we'll get uniform code which we can discuss. If everyone does as per his or her own way, then we will get dissimilar codes and we cannot discuss them well as beginners. Okay, so let's click on record macro. Uh, we get this window. We can give a name. Okay, let me first give you a little background before we give the name. Let me give you what kind of work we can do. So let's imagine we have this table over here where we have security code, number of units, rate, scheme, and so on. Let's say this particular data was uh, was keyed in. There was a manual data entry involved, and it was done by my assistant, by my colleague. And when he did data entry, there is always a possibility because if you look at the figures, it's 61.146, rate is 194.2605. There is always a possibility of some or the other value going wrong, correct? So I wish to exercise a control that units into rate should give me amount. Is it really happening? Is B into C giving me G? I would like to perform that check. And let us say this is my daily activity. So every day I'm required to first perform this check. And then once I find that at least this units into rate equal to amount, this equation is tallying, then I go ahead with my further one. Okay, I do that every day and I'm getting bored. I'm wondering if I can write a macro for that. Okay. So we'll take up that task. It's a very simple task. It's a really a childish task if you ask me. And you might be wondering why are we even writing a macro because this is something I can finish in maybe 90 seconds flat. But the reason why we are developing this is because we want to take baby steps. Okay, because we are entering into a new arena of writing programs, and it will help if we take baby steps and take it easy initially. Write such programs which are not really required from your genuine automation requirements point of view, but that will develop the skill slowly and steadily. So macro name, what name would you like to give? Okay, so I'll just call it amount underscore verification. Okay, this is my suggested name. Can everyone see my screen properly in terms of font size, or should I magnify my screen a little? I think a little magnification might help, especially from the macro code perspective. I slightly magnify my screen. Okay, can everyone see this better? Okay, I hope now font size is not a problem. We have this amount underscore verification in the name. All right, great. Then shortcut key is the next option. Do you wish to assign any shortcut key? I ordinarily don't advocate that because if you assign a shortcut key to any macro and you accidentally end up pressing that shortcut key, in that case, what will happen? The macro will suddenly get triggered. Okay, accidentally it happens, right? We end up pressing some different shortcut key than what was intended. Do you really want that to happen? Do you want to take that risk? I think let's not take that risk. The next is store macro in this workbook, new workbook, or personal macro workbook. Okay, I'll come to this part a little later. Right now, let us just stick to this workbook. Okay, this workbook happens to be the default one. I'll come to the other two options later. And then there is a description. This is optional if you want to describe your macro. What are you doing? Why you are developing this macro? What is the logic behind this? Any other thing that you want to document, you can do that. So just for the sake of demonstration, I'll write this is my first macro using it. Okay, I just written something for demonstration's sake. Okay, is everybody with me? You have given a title to your macro. You decided where to store it. We did not really change the default value. And then description, some description was given. I hope everyone is ready with me. If you are ready, just press the OK button. And after pressing OK button, you cannot do stuff that comes to your mind. Okay, I'm going to tell you each and everything. Please follow me. Okay, follow me to the letter T. Okay. By the way, I've got this interesting notification. Okay, I got this notification. I'll come to this notification a little later. Okay, I'll just live with this notification. I'll not take any action right now. I'll come to that part later. Now, what are we going to do? You could be anywhere. Just click on A1 cell. Use your mouse. Okay, you may be fond of keyboard, but use mouse and just click on A1. Okay, just once click on A1. Okay, is everyone with me? Next, press Control followed by asterisk. Do you have asterisk as a dedicated key? If you have asterisk, that is multiplication sign as a dedicated key, you press that. But for some of you, asterisk is lying on top of 8, correct? And you don't have a dedicated key for that. Then you should press Control Shift and 8. Okay, Shift 8 will effectively mean asterisk. Okay, Control asterisk either directly or Control Shift 8. Is this entire rectangle getting highlighted? Okay, this is the keyboard shortcut for highlighting this entire array. Next is I'll go to Home tab. I'll go to Home tab and at its right, somewhere at the right, I've got this Format button. Can you see? I'll click on Format. Okay, do this with mouse. Go to Home tab, then click on Format button, and then somewhere we have this Auto Fit column width. That is my fourth option. You might be using a keyboard shortcut otherwise, but today stick to mouse and click on this. Okay, what I have done, I selected the data, then I did an auto fit. Okay, Then with the help of mouse, click on I1 cell. You have I1 cell here in the headers. Click on that so you reach to I1. Next step is I will write a header. Let's say I'll write here my amount and I'll just write AMT and then press tab. Don't press enter. Okay, my amount is what I have typed here. After you finish typing, press tab. As you press tab, it takes you to J1. It goes to the right. And here I am going to write difference, which is DIFF. Okay, DIFF is difference. I hit enter and this takes me to the next line. Okay, so what I have done, I have just now entered two headers. Okay. What I wish to do is I will generate my own amount. My assistant has already keyed in figures in G column. I'll generate my own amount figures and then I'll compute a difference. Do the figures tally? Yes or no? Let me see. So how do I write the formula? I'll press equal to sign and then I'll use left arrow key. Okay, equal to sign left arrow key. Sufficiently go to the left. Indicate B2. Very simple expression. B2 multiplied by C2. Okay, B2 multiplied by C2, that is the product. Press tab. After you write B2 into C2, B2 multiplied by C2, press tab. That will again take you to the right. And then equal to G2 minus I2. Okay, G2 minus I2. Can you do that? I'm doing a very simple task. I'm essentially what I'm doing is I'm computing my amount in my own way.
Yes.
B2 into C2. G2 minus I2. And then enter. Just keep your mics on mute mode, please, unless you want to ask any question or something. Thank you. Okay, moving on. Last thing. Now I have defined these two formulas. They are giving me my amount and difference. Now just to finish this, I need to extend this till the bottom end of my data, right? So you might do this in a variety of ways, but just follow me. Okay, for today, just follow me the way I tell you. Highlight these two cells. Okay, just highlight these two cells with the help of your mouse and then double click on this small green square. Okay, this small green square is known as fill handle. Just double click on that and it drags it till the bottom. You can do a click and drag, but right now you just do a double click. That's it. That is it. I am through. I have finished my activity. The activity, if you look back at it, it was a very simple activity. I had some data. The column widths were not sufficient. So I just did an auto fit. I highlighted and did an auto fit. Then I put a formula first for computation of amount, then for computation of the difference. Difference turned out to be zero. When I dragged the formula till the bottom, it turned out to be zero for all along. And now if I wish to finish this, because remember the recording is still on, okay? Don't forget that the recording is still on, which means that unless you stop the recording, it won't. It will continue to capture whatever further you do. Okay, so don't forget to stop the recording. If you have reached till here with me, go to developer tab and then press this stop recording button. Okay, go to developer tab and press stop recording. That's it. Once you press stop recording, then the recording process is over. Now your macro is ready in the background. Okay, is everybody with me? Okay, I've gone very slowly. I feel I've gone slowly. There's some noise. Can everyone mute?
So we'll
Can
get
everyone
recording,
mute
huh?
them? I beg your pardon? Yeah, yeah. You are getting the recording. I'll show you an action replay also. Okay, don't worry. Just in case, probably you could catch me till a point and then you got lost or something. I mean, there's some gap. I will show you a replay and you can try that once more with me. Okay, because I want everyone to have the code with them and that everybody should be able to read. So I'll just show a replay. Okay, this replay I'm not really going to record it. Okay, I'm just showing it. But from my side, I'm not recording. But from your side, if you want, if you feel that the first recording has goofed up a bit here and there, you can do the recording of that. Okay, I just tell you what I did. I just insert a new sheet without really turning on the recording. I just re-perform this. My real data is only till here. Okay, this is my data. If I want to carry out the recording and go ahead, then how do I go about doing that? I click on record macro. I'll give it a name like amount underscore verification or whatever, and then I'll give a description. Normally, I don't touch these two things. Description also is if you want, you give it. There is no compulsion. Okay, but some or the other description you can give my macro something like that, and then you can press the OK button. Okay, I'm not going to press OK button right now, but this is what you do essentially. And then once the recording starts, what you are supposed to do, first step, click on A1. First step is click on A1. Second step, you press Control asterisk. If you don't have a dedicated key for asterisk on your laptop, you can press Control Shift and 8.
Sir,
It is
that
the same thing.
file is not showing the icons what you are having.
So, what kind of icons? I mean, which icons?
I suppose it's not downloaded one.
Uh, you mean to say at my end or at your end? It's not showing. On
Yeah,
my
I think,
screen, it is not
sir,
visible.
I can't see your screen for quite some time. I tried all the options.
Okay. My screen itself is not visible.
Yeah, I think you're not sharing the screen. That's what it looks like because I tried all the
I'm
options.
actually sharing it, but for some reason, I think some of the people are having. Okay. Okay. Some questions were there, I think, while I was demonstrating. Where do I get the tab developer? Jay Prakash ji is asking. What you are supposed to do is you need to go to File, Options. Okay, File Options, Customize ribbon, and here you have developer. Okay, you are supposed to take this developer. Come to this Excel options, customize ribbon, and their developer needs to be ticked and OK button needs to be pressed. That is one thing. Uh, Apart from that, I think other questions I'm showing a replay, so then you'll be able to see that. Okay, I think I stopped screen sharing. Okay, so sorry. I had not done my screen sharing then. I'll show once more. File. Now I hope the screen is visible. File, options, customize ribbon, and you need to tick the developer. Press OK. Okay. Then the developers tab will start appearing. In developer tab, you click on record macro. Okay, press this record macro button. This macro name will come up. Some or the other name you give it, and then you can give some description as per your will. Okay, whatever name, whatever description, and press the OK button. I'm just going to press the cancel button. And in the macro, as you start the recording, what you are supposed to do right now is just click on this A1 cell. Okay, first the A1 cell, then
Sir, this
control asterisk.
file, this develop this customized ribbon option is not available. I've downloaded it, but
Do you have a file button at the top, or do you have a Windows logo?
file is there.
Uh, Options. In options, you have this customized ribbon here.
Yeah, I'm aware, but option is not coming.
Options itself is not visible. Then what all things are visible at your end? When you click on file, at the bottom, what do you have? At the extreme bottom,
It can be more option.
just see. Do you have account options?
No, I think it's not.
I
Can you read out what options do you have, like from top to bottom? Maybe do you have home? Do you have something like new, open, save, save as?
I got new open, make a copy. Option is not appearing.
What is the last thing that you have in that list?
It is more, but in
more
more only feedback is coming.
in more option there is one in the more you can find option tab.
Okay, okay, okay.
Another thing, what I can suggest for you right now, just in case you are not able to locate it for some reason. Okay, right now what you can do is you can go to View tab. In View tab also you have macros here, and here you have record macro. So for now you can get started with that. Okay, in the View tab there is record macros which can manage for now, and in the meantime you can search for your record macro. Which version of Excel are you having?
13.
2013. 2013 does have options at the bottom. I think maybe because you have compressed your screen, you for a minute you maximize your Excel window, and from there you will be able to locate better. In case you have resized your Excel window,
Okay, should I
then
now
that
I got
might
a
have.
new macros itself. I'm aware that it is available in the custom ribbon as well as in the view option. So in that I'll have to do.
Right now you come to view and click on record macro.
Okay,
So then at least your recording will happen.
okay,
Okay,
fine.
then because today's agenda is mainly the recorder, so
Okay,
you can manage for today. Okay.
okay,
So if you click on record macro, you get the same thing, and then you can just start the recorder, and then you click
okay,
on A1, then you press Control asterisk, and that highlights this, and then you are supposed to auto fit. Okay, first click on A1, then Control asterisk to select it. Okay, and once everything is selected, then you go to Home tab and auto fit it. So where is auto fit? Auto fit is under Format, and then click on auto fit column. So when you auto fit the column width, it will look like this. Now all the columns are visible well. Then you can click on I1. As you click on I1, you can type the heading. What are we doing here? I'm going to calculate my own amount. Okay, I'll compute my own amount and then I'll press tab and then I'll type DIFF this. So I'm just typing my headers. Okay, in the next step, I'm typing my headers. After you type the headers, what you will do? You are supposed to calculate your own amount and then compute a difference. How will you calculate? You will type equal to sign, then you will show this B2 and put a multiplication sign and then show C2. So B2 multiplied by C2, a very simple formula for amount, units into rate. And then when you press tab, you will come to J2. Okay, first generate your own amount B2 into C2. Once that amount is generated, then you will find out the difference between G2 and I2. So I'll write equal to just G2 minus I2. Yes, I2. Okay, G2 minus I2. And then I'll press enter. Now I've got one amount and one difference. The difference is 0. It can be 0 or anything, doesn't matter.
Control Shift 8 was for selecting and auto fit, no?
Only for selection, then auto fit will be different. See,
Achha.
basically you need to select the data and do an auto fit.
Okay.
Okay, the way you, for now you can do it your own usual way. Okay, and then just highlight this and drag it till bottom. Okay, so what I suggest is you just do an auto fit, put a formula for amount and then for difference. Amount is units into rate. Just compute units into rate, difference between the two amounts and then drag the formula till the bottom. And as you do so, like once you finish doing so, then you go back to view tab or developer tab, whatever is visible. Okay, view or developer, whatever is visible, go there. And then don't forget to click this stop recording. Unless you do this stop recording, it won't stop recording. So it will keep capturing anything and everything that you do. Okay. So the macro is ready. If you press the stop recorder macro, stop recorder button, then the macro is ready. But where can you see the macro? How to see it? And before we do that, we should save the file. And before we save the file, let me just see if any questions are there. There's one question, I think. Okay, that is related to CEP. Okay. Now, let us try to save the file. Now, one problem that I will get, we all can try that. Okay, this is how I've got it. Now, if I want to save the file, if I press Control S, I may be greeted by this message. Actually, this message is the same thing what I've got in my notification at the top. Okay, the notification at the top says that VB projects must be saved in macro enabled workbooks. To resume auto save to a macro enabled. Why have I got this message? Maybe most of you haven't got this message. I've got this message because I've got auto save on. And second thing is, basically it's a Microsoft 365 subscription that I have. Under that, auto save keeps happening, but right now temporarily my auto save is off. It says can't auto save, so that's why this notification came. Okay, in your case, while this may not be the situation, but even if you press Control S, you will still get this message box. Let us read this message box and let us take a judicious action. The message box says the following features cannot be saved in macro free workbooks which is a VB project. Okay, what we are developing is a macro can be referred as a VB project. And if you are creating a VB project, it cannot be saved in macro free workbook. What do I mean by macro free workbook? A macro free workbook comes with a .xlsx note extension. Okay, I have typed that extension in the chat box. You know this very well. The default extension of your Excel files is .xlsx, and .xlsx files cannot be saved, cannot hold macro. Okay, whether you like it or you don't like it, but that's how Microsoft has done it. So what you need to do is you press this no button. Okay, it says to save a file with these features, click no. To continue saving as a macro free workbook, yes. And quite, I find this quite odd that Microsoft has kept yes as default. So without reading the message properly, if you hit the enter button, what will happen? You will end up losing your macro. If you don't wish to end up losing your macro, press the no button. Yeah. Okay, click this no button, and then you can go to any convenient place. Okay, maybe the same location, wherever you are stored in the same location, but change the extension. Okay, as you save, press the no button and change the extension. Please choose from the drop down Excel macro enabled workbook. Can you see that? It's a .xlsm note extension. Okay, .xlsm. Choose that one, which is a macro enabled workbook. And just for ample clarity, what I'll do is I would like to attach, what do you say? I would like to attach a suffix to it. Introduction to Excel macros with macro. So I got this with macro file. Okay, Excel macro enabled workbook.xlsm file. I save it. Now, because I have saved it as a .xlsm at my end, if you see, now my auto save is back to on. This had turned off. Now it is on once more. Okay. More importantly, that notification has gone, and now my macro is preserved. I won't lose the macro if I close the file. Okay, is everybody through? Is Could you not hear me? Is there any problem on the sound front? Can everyone hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you can hear me now. Okay, visible and audible both. Okay, great. All right. So in that case, let me go back. Let us all now check what is the code. Should we check the code? I think it will be interesting to see the code. Okay. So can you see this Visual Basic button? Okay, there is one button for Visual Basic. You please press that button. The keyboard shortcut is Alt F11. Ma'am, you couldn't enable the developer tab. What you can do is you can use the keyboard shortcut Alt F11. Okay,
What should I
because
do?
you press Alt F11, Alt and F11. Okay, this is the keyboard shortcut. Okay, others who have the developer tab, you can either use Alt F11 as a keyboard shortcut or just press this Visual Basic button at its extreme left. In any case, now we are getting a separate window, correct? This is the world of macros. Okay, we have the Excel sheet here, Excel file here. Okay, or sheet, you can say. These are the sheets. And what we have over here is Microsoft Visual Basic for applications, this VBA window. Okay. Now you might see some components. Before we discuss them, has everyone got this window? Is everyone with me? Has the window opened up?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, in this window, Please locate your file. Can you see your file? Now you have this project, VBA project, as a pane on the left side, and in this pane, somewhere your file name will be visible. Okay. If you can see your file name, a little below that, there will be a folder called modules. And if you open this folder, within that you will see module 1. So can you locate module 1, which is a part of Introduction to Excel Macros VBA project? Okay, here's the VBA project, below that module 1.
Model 1
Yes,
is there, but it is blank.
probably a macro did not get recorded. Anyways, I'll arrange to send this file to you. Uh, Others, I request you to double click on module 1. Okay, just double click on module 1. Have you double clicked it? Because single click will not open it up. Just double click it. I think if you double click, then it will be visible. Okay, can everyone see a code like this?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
great. So this is our macro. We can rightfully claim that we have written this macro. Okay, although the secret is between you and me that it was the recorder which generated this code. Okay, so at least we can get started using the recorder. So we will get syntax like this. And let me give you a good news that the language is a higher level language. That means the commands are English like. While we are not programmers really, but at least we know English, so we can follow the commands even if we are not really familiar with VBA. We have never learned VBA, but our English knowledge and our awareness of Excel will help us. Okay, let
Yes,
us
I
try
also
to
got
read
the
this code.
macros, sir.
Sorry,
I
you
also
got the
got the
code?
macros. Yes.
Okay, that's great. Nice, great. So now let us read this from top to bottom. Okay, let us see if we can read this, and if you can read this, whether this makes any sense to us. Okay, let's see. Now the first line over here is SUB sub amount underscore verification open bracket close bracket. Okay, so this sub means a subroutine. This is a short form of subroutine. Uh, you can have some other words also in place of this, but right now sub is good enough. And basically this means the macro. Okay, so this is the macro, and the name of the macro is amount verification. So we are talking about which macro? Amount underscore verification. Okay, that is my title. This is in short the start line. See, every program is supposed to have a start line. You know where it needs to start, and you also need to know where it needs to end. So if you glance at this program, can you see the last line is end sub? You have sub followed by name of the subroutine, and then the last line is end sub, which marks the end of the program. Got it? Now, if you trigger this program, what will run is whatever written in between. Now, whatever is written in between will be a part of this program and it will run whenever you run the program. The program execution always happens from top to bottom. So first, the first line on the top, then the second line from the top, then the third line from the top, and so on till the last line. Okay. Just requesting everyone to mute the mics, please. Okay, please mute your mic. I think some background voices are audible. Aditji, do you have any question? I think you have raised your hand, Aditji. Adit Tulsan.
Hello.
Yeah, hello. Yeah. So you have raised your hand. You have
Hello.
used the raise
Am I
hand
audible, sir?
feature. Yes, yes, you are audible. Please go ahead. You have a question?
Sir, though we have moved to VBA, but regarding this developer, I had one or two queries. So, like,
Okay.
if we are running the macros, do we have to have the same rows and columns like what we have recorded? It will run in the same number of rows and columns. The formatting will be running the same thing.
I'll come to that. So,
Okay.
same number of rows and columns. Are you talking about? Okay, can you elaborate your
So
question?
the column J, we have put
I,
the formula of the amount. So when we are running the macros in the another file, so it
mm,
will calculate in the column J only, or like
yes,
how it will be?
yes, in the column J itself. So we'll come to that. So we are yet to read the macro. So let us see what the macro has got generated. So as we read it, so we'll understand what has been written, and then we will see that part. Then
Okay.
we will talk about even the scalability aspect.
Yeah.
So that also we'll see.
And I'm
Because
using
I think sooner or later you will have this question whether I can
okay.
use it for a different number of rows, maybe more rows, less rows, whatever. Yeah,
And I'm
you're
using
saying
Excel
something. You are using different.
Excel 7. So developer tab is not coming actually. I used it with the view thing, but now Excel
Ah,
options I'm going. I can see
so
customize.
no,
I can
if you have 2007 version, na, then
yeah
you need to click on this Windows logo. You don't have a file button, first of all.
yeah. I
Okay,
did
what you have
customize.
is a Windows logo at the
I can
top.
see tab, but I don't.
Okay,
It is not coming in the
and
ribbon.
there you will go to popular. Popular is, I think, the first one. You don't have.
Popular formulas, customize, and then it's the developer
Okay, you
tab.
will have Excel options. And the first one is popular, is it?
Yes, yes. Hello.
Enable. You will have to tick here. Show
Okay.
developer tab. You have a show developer
Yes,
tab.
yeah.
You take
So
that
it
and
will
then it will be.
only that file I'm working on, or it will be valid for all the Excels I would be working on the text or whatever, like
No,
in the
this
mic.
is a tab as a part of your entire Excel ribbon. Okay, you have your entire Excel ribbon, and it will be a
Okay.
part of that. So any file you open, whether or not you have the intention of writing a macro, but developer tab will be visible. Okay,
Okay.
so that's why it is invisible in the first place. Why did
Mhm.
Microsoft keep it as invisible? The logic is 99% Excel users are not really developers. They don't have the aspiration to become a developer. Whereas
Okay.
developer tab is relevant only for developers. So if you don't want to become a developer, then why should you keep it visible? So while it is given by default, like while it is given by Microsoft, by default it is hidden. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay. All right. So that's another thing. Moving on. Uh, where was I? Yeah.
Sir, code.
Let me read this command once more. So sub amount verification is true. This is just the title. Next line is amount verification macro, and this line is green in color. Okay, that's something interesting. Any line that is green in color, we have this line green, and even the next line is green. The green lines are non-executable commands, or they are called as non-executable commands, but as such, they are not commands. So I'll simply write it this way: green lines are, well, they are often referred as non-executable commands, but I prefer to use the word lines. They are lines, something you have written, but because it is green in color, it is non-executable. It is not a code. It's not a command in the truest sense. Okay. So what is this? These are just remarks. How do we get a line as green in color? Unlike your normal Excel, you can't just change the font color as per your preferences. Okay, and the color has a meaning. As I told you, green line is non-executable, and to get it green, you need to place single inverted comma at the beginning. Okay, do you have a single inverted comma at the beginning? If the answer is yes, then the line will automatically turn green. Okay, if I remove single inverted comma, then it will not stay green. Okay, don't remove it right now. I'm just telling you. Okay, so these two lines, why they exist in my program, they are not really executable. So the first real command is over here, range a1 dot select. Can you see? I think all of us are having this command, range a1 dot select. Can we understand this command? While we have never really learned VBA, but can we follow this? So we know in Excel A1 is a cell and range A1 dot select means I'm asking Excel to select that cell. That is highlight that cell. Right? This is corresponding to that mouse click we first clicked on A1 if you remember. Right? What was the second thing we did? We pressed Control asterisk. What Control asterisk did was to generate this line selection dot current region dot select. Okay, here's my A1. Beside that or about that, whatever is my current region that needs to be selected. Okay. Now I'll give you one hint. If you want to really read VBA and you want to make it most intelligible for you, don't read it in VBA, don't read it in pure English, read it in English. That is Hindi and English mixed. What I mean by this is don't read this as selection dot current region dot select. Use some Hindi prepositions in between. So I will perhaps read this as selection के current region को select कीजिए. Okay, I am giving this command to Excel कि range A1 को select कीजिए. Selection के current region को select कीजिए. Now, if you replace the dots with some suitable prepositions and make it like a Hindi sentence with English keywords, then suddenly it will become much more intelligible, right? तो मैं क्या कहने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ? What am I saying here? You have your range A1. Before I come to the next line, A1 is already selected. And now about A1, which is the current region, that needs to be selected. So if I come to my Excel, about A1, I've got this array, and this array needs to be selected. Okay. Now I'll come to my third line. My third line, how should I read it? Selection के columns को auto fit कीजिए. I hope everybody is comfortable with Hindi in between, right? As I understand,
Yes,
this is
sir.
organized by WRC. So Western region is familiar with Hindi, but I don't know. Somebody might have joined from the maybe the southern part of India or something. And if somebody is feeling any discomfort at any point,
Sir,
do let me know.
mostly are comfortable, not an issue.
Mostly are comfortable, right? And I'll be sticking to English, but I'm mentioning this only to make it a little easy. Okay, this part. Okay, so to this extent, I'll keep it a little in Hindi. As such, the entire talk will be delivered in English. तो सिलेक्शन के कॉलम्स को ऑटो फिट कीजिए और सिलेक्शन डॉट कॉलम्स डॉट ऑटो फिट व्हाट इज माय सिलेक्शन जस्ट प्रायर टू दैट now just prior to that command my selection was this entire array, right? Thanks to my second line, second real command, this entire array was highlighted and the third command auto fits it. Okay, have you understood this third line? Okay, if somebody asks me to write this, I may not be able to write it, but if it is written already and if I read it carefully, perhaps I can understand it, right? Okay. Any questions till here? We read 3 commands. Okay. Prior to that, there were some more lines, but the real commands were these 3. Uh, any questions anybody has in the understanding part of these 3 commands? Anyone has any doubt in the first 3 lines? Okay, first 3 lines are clear. Okay, they seem to be clear to me. No questions till now. All right. I'll move ahead. If any question comes up, feel free to voice it out. I'll come to the fourth line now. Range I1 dot select. Okay, range I1 dot select. It is same like your first line. Now I'll go to I1. And the fifth line is active cell dot formula R1 C1 equal to my amount. Active cell में formula डालिए equal to my amount. That's how I can read it. Okay. Where what is my active cell? As per the previous command, I changed my active cell to I1. So I went to I1 and then I'm putting some formula. Although the macro recorder has generated a dot formula R1C1 command, that is, this is more suitable for a formula. And we are not really entering a formula in I1, are we? What we entered in I1 was a plain text, was a dead value. But nonetheless, this formula, this command got generated and it is definitely not spoiling the show. So equal to my amount, what happens is my amount, this phrase as it's written in a pair of double inverted commas, this phrase gets entered in I1. Okay. If I run this program again, wherever in front of any workbook, if I run this program, it will go to its I1 cell and put my amount in it. Got it? Similarly, we have the next pair of commands. This next pair of commands appears very similar to the previous one. Range J1 dot select, it will go to J1. And now the active cell is J1. So in J1, you will have the formula DIFF. It's not really a formula, it's a text, but that's what gets entered over here. Okay. Are the next four lines clear? Okay, swiftly we have covered four more lines. Now, range I2 dot select. I hit enter key and then I2 got selected. That is, if I come here and if I press enter, right now it's showing here, but this column was actually empty. Even this column was empty. Okay, if I momentarily make these two columns empty, if I press enter, okay, now it's coming here because it was written and then removed. But then if it's totally a blank cell, it will come to I2. So I2 was entered here. And then we have application dot cut copy mode equal to false. Does everyone have this line? I am having this line. Is this line getting generated in your case? In actually, this is a redundant line. This has got no relevance with our program. Okay,
It is
somehow
not
my
there.
recorder has generated. Its presence is harmless. Even if it is present, it is not causing any harm. But it is completely redundant in the context of what we are doing. Okay, this is one difficulty with Excel macro recorder. In a macro recorder, what happens is occasionally some superfluous code gets generated. Some code which I don't really require but may get generated. That's always a possibility. Okay, fine. So what is this application.cut copy mode equal to false? Just in case you are curious about it. I think some of you have not got it and some of you have got it. What it means is, when we press Control C, if I come to Excel cell, okay, if I press Control C, now this cell is copied. Suppose now I want to clear the memory. What will I do? Okay, I want to stop this copy feature. Okay, these moving ants I want to stop. How can I do that? What can I do? Hello? Can someone tell me? Escape? Yeah? Kuljit,
What is
Asmi.
the question, sir?
Question is, if I have copied this cell, how can I stop the copy? So we
I
can press
think
escape key. If you press escape, no, I don't want to clear the content really, but whatever is copied, the fact that this cell is copied, that I want to stop. So merely an escape key will do, right? When I press escape, it is nothing else but application.cut copy mode equal to false. I'm telling Excel that the copy mode or a cut mode is to be stopped. There is no cut, no copy. Okay, so uh, I distinctly remember I definitely did not press escape key, but for some reason this has come up. Okay, even if you clear the cut copy mode, it is not a problem because we are not copied anything. Okay, so I'll move on now. The real command is this one. We have selected I2 and then eventually I have this other command active cell dot formula R1C1. Now this part you understand very well active cell dot formula R1C1. We are trying to enter a formula in the active cell. And what is the formula? Now can you differentiate between this and this? Okay, we have DI double F over here and we have something else over here. Can you make out a strong difference between the two? There is a very important difference between the two, and the difference is this equal to sign. Can you see equals to sign? This equals to sign really makes it a formula. There is no equal to sign here. So this is not a formula. This is a plain text. Okay, this is a formula, but hold it. Look at the way the formula is expressed here. Okay, had you seen this before? This is a new expression, isn't it? RC into bracket minus 7 into square bracket minus 7 multiplied by RC into square bracket minus 6. Now this brings me to the concept of R1C1 notation. So there is a notation called R1C1.
Is it something
Okay,
relating to that column is at what place from the where the formula is to be copied?
correct. Very good. That's actually that's the thing. Basically, our position is important. What position are we having? So have a look at this formula. Okay, this is the formula. I'm coming back to Excel sheet.
Yes, once
B2 multiplied by C2, which I'm entering in I2. Now consider I2 cell. With reference to I2 cell, how can you refer to B2? So one way of putting that is B2 is the cell which belongs to the same row but is 7 columns to the left. Can I put it that way? You can count on your fingers.
just
Okay.
small
I2,
clarification.
I will be the ninth column, minus
Just
7 columns will be 2 columns.
just small
Correct?
clarification, please.
Yeah.
It means it is taking the positional number at for which it is being calculated, and in case there is a change in the column number at some other worksheet, then
Correct.
this formula will automatically be taken into consideration, right?
Correct. Correct. So your it may not be B2. Okay. If I happen to enter that in let's say R2, then it will be some other column. Because all I'm saying is this is where the formula needs to be entered. And with reference to the active cell, you need to go 7 columns to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So then it will start referring to K2. Okay. So this minus 7 means in front of R there is nothing, means the current row as it is. And in front of column I have got minus 7 in a pair of square brackets, which means 7 columns to the left. I need to pick this cell. I need to locate this cell, whichever cell it is. I'll pick its value and I'll multiply it with another value which comes from another cell which is in the same row but 6 columns to the left. Okay, how do I read this one? RC into square bracket minus 6. It is the same row but 6 columns to the left. Pranati ji, have you been admitted with the second device? I think
No,
you are no, not yet.
the screen is not available on the.
But I think you have two devices apparently.
Yeah, actually,
Both are
my
admitted.
Excel is on my desktop laptop, so I want to see from another device so that I can simultaneously see what you are saying.
Okay. I think there is an echo. Just requesting you to mute yourself because that's causing echo for some reason. Just requesting the admin to admit her second device in case that's in the lobby. If it is not, then that's good. Okay, fine. I just continue with my discussion. Okay, just requesting everyone to keep the mic on mute mode, please. Yeah, so I was saying, here's the formula, and in comparison with this location, I need to go 7 columns to the left. Okay, sorry, this one. This is the formula. Okay, please mute your mics, please. Everyone else. Okay, 7 columns to the left. C2, what can you say about C2? C2 is 6 columns to the left. I think somebody's mic is on. Santosh Sharma ji, I think your mic is on. If your mic is on, please switch it off for a moment. Okay, now it looks good. Thank you. Moving on. Sorry, where was I? Okay, this part is clear. Let us have a look. I mean, I would like to show it in a better way. Please come to File tab. Okay, File button over here. Click on that. Go to Options. Okay, File, then Options, and then come to Formulas. Okay, either File or those who are having Office 2007, you need to click on that Windows logo. Okay, whenever I'll say File, you will click on Windows logo, and then you come to Options or Excel options. And within Excel options, you have formulas over here. And within formulas, you have R1C1 reference style. Can you see? You have the R1C1 reference style checkbox, which is unticked by default. But if you want, we can tick it. Okay, please tick this and then press OK. Now, can you see one very obvious visible difference? Okay, can you see a visible difference here?
What is
Now
the
I have got
difference?
this. Yeah, the difference is now the columns have turned numeric.
Yes, yes.
Okay, columns are numeric, rows were always numeric, but now in columns are numeric. And now if I come to this formula and press F2, you can see this formula looks exactly the way it appears in the macro. Okay, please mute your mics, please. Okay, see if you temporarily switch it on, then do switch it off because otherwise some kind of background sounds to keep coming.
Can you show your file again? Because I did that R1SC1 type, but I didn't find it numeric.
Have you take that? Just check your options once more. Go to File, Options, Formulas, and then you have R1C1 reference type. Is this ticked?
Yeah, it is ticked. After that,
No, then
columns.
your columns are no more ABCD, na? Or is it?
Okay,
I'm
okay.
saying your column names are there,
Sorry.
na?
Yeah, yeah,
ABCD, they
yeah.
are turned numeric. Okay. Okay. Somebody's listening. Pranati ji, is your mic on? Just check once. Maybe on your second device.
Only one device.
Just give your mic off on. Yeah, it is off only. Somebody else is on. Okay. Please keep your mics off. Yeah, thank you. All right, any questions?
Sir, I have one question.
Okay.
In that macro which we were checking out, so there was one incorrect this which was not required. So can we delete that in that macro and save it?
Yeah, we can delete that. We can delete that.
Okay.
So yeah, you can say redundant.
Yeah.
It was syntax wise not incorrect and not causing any harm also, but not causing any benefit also. So you can delete it. You can highlight and you can delete it. Okay. So right
Okay,
now
sir.
I'm just retaining it just for record because it just exposes me to another line of code. But fundamentally you can delete it. Okay. So coming back to this now. Now what is R1C1 reference style? I think it is a little better obvious now that it is 7 columns away because this is ninth column and this is second column, as you can see. The other cell reference is to RC minus 6 means in the same row, while you are entering it in the ninth column, it refers to the third column. Okay. Let me also demonstrate over here. If I come to any blank cell, just watch this part. You need not do this with me. Simply watch it. If you press equal to sign, okay, then refer to any cell. How Excel responds to that. So this is R bracket minus 2. Now even R has a bracket. Why R has a bracket? Because we are talking about two rows above. Which is the current row? 4. 4 minus 2 is 2. So now we are referring to the second row. And which is the current column? 13th column. 13 minus 2 is 11. So this is how this cell is located. If I go to some other cell, maybe over here, how is this cell referred? R4C minus 5. Are you getting? 13 minus 5 is 8th column. And fourth row plus 4 more rows will be 8th row. If I come to the right side over here, then my row is negative, but column is positive. If I come over here, then row and column both are positive. Both are showing increases. Okay. So you will either have a positive number or a negative number in square bracket, which means that many rows or that many columns ahead or behind. If you are in the current row, then there is no R0. Okay, the notation is not R0, it is simply R. If you are in the current column, okay, maybe over here, then the notation is not C0, it is simply C. Okay, so this is the notation. This is how you can refer to other cells, and this is nothing else but relative referencing. What do I mean by relative referencing? Your formula determines a particular cell based on its current position. Because if I write R5C4, okay, R square bracket 5 and C square bracket 4, right now it is referring to this particular cell. But maybe if if my active cell happens to be some altogether different cell, so this is my active cell, then I can have another reference which is also R5C4. Now, why is it referring to this cell? Because the reference is always subject to active cell. If your active cell changes, then the referred cell also changes. Referred cell won't remain the same. Okay. So now the same expression R square bracket 5, C square bracket 4 is now referring to a different cell. Is this part clear? Okay, our ordinary Excel references are relative references. When, see, what is my daily experience? When I go to any cell, when I refer to a cell, say B2, okay, do we mean B2 in a rigid sense that B2 will stay B2? If you copy paste, B2 will become B3, B3 will become B4. That is our experience. Yes or no? What is that? That is nothing else but relative reference. Okay. And suppose if I write B2, but then I want to say B2 means B2. Even if I copy paste, B2 should not change. How do I indicate that?
By using dollar column
By
dollar
using dollars.
sign.
Correct. If it is $B $2, it means even if you copy paste that active cell formula anywhere, B2 will stay B2. Okay, other references might change, but B2 won't change. How that part is achieved here? So suppose I'll come a little back over here. Say I'm over here somewhere. Just watch it. If I refer to any cell, if I refer to this cell, how is this cell referred right now? Right now it is being referred as R square bracket minus 3, 3 rows above, and C square bracket minus 2, 2 columns to the left. But now I want to refer to this cell in an absolute sense, so I press F4. The keyboard shortcut is F4, right? F4 for dollars. Now can you see a change? Now after R and after C, I again have numbers, but the numbers are without square brackets. Now if the numbers are without square brackets, then R1, C1, C11 means first row and 11th column, right? This is the first row and this is the 11th column. At its intersection is this cell. Now if I copy paste this ahead, if I press enter, let's say if I write here something A, B, C, D, okay, that's appearing over here. Now if I copy this and I may paste it elsewhere, somewhere maybe here, it continues to refer to that same cell. Which cell? First row and 11th column, no square brackets. So that means it is in an absolute sense. You can never have negative numbers here. Okay, because your first row in worksheet is 1. First column in worksheet is also 1. So you will not have 0, you will not have negative numbers, you will always have positive numbers when it is an absolute reference. In a relative reference, you will have a square bracket, and inside square bracket there can be either positive or negative. Okay, are you following till here? Okay, any confusion till here?
Sir, I have one question.
Ganesh, you have a question? Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, this in this developer tab, we went to file options, and then under formulas, we tick that small box of R1C1.
Mm,
Okay.
mm.
Now in the developer tab, we find everything is coming as numbers. What about home tab? If we go there, it will come as a normal.
No, it has got nothing to do with tabs. It is any tab. You have changed it at an application level. It
Okay.
has got nothing to do with developer tab. It turned out that my developer tab was the active tab. Your tab could be anything.
I mean,
It
if I
is an
am working on,
application level change.
sir, my question was now, if suppose I am working on another file where macro is not
Mm,
available, whether it will appear as
mm.
A, B, C, D, or it will appear as 1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh,
As I
acha.
was
So
telling you, this
then,
is an application level change.
okay.
So if you are not comfortable, I mean, only for demonstration, I made you this,
Okay, okay,
do
got
this.
it, got it.
But you can come back, okay? Let us all
Yeah,
come
we can.
back to ABCD. Come to File, Options,
Yeah, we can untick that.
Formula,
Correct, correct.
and
Then it
just
will come back
untick
to
it and we'll come back. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay, clear.
Yeah. And initially, you will have a little confusion. While I've introduced, someday I have to introduce you. Okay. So we have got introduced today. Now see, now this is $K $1. Okay, it is with dollars. This reference. Anyways, someday we need to begin with the reference. Okay, so accordingly, I have introduced. I don't expect that on day one. Right now, this becomes crystal clear to you. You might have got the idea, but there might be still some confusion. No problem. Let us allow some time for it to get completely digested. Okay. We have 9 more sessions, so we'll have time for that. Okay. Uh, we will keep practicing that. But so far, two things we have done. Ganeshji, do you have any question? Like, uh, are you still confused, or uh, you want any explanation on anything? Was it related to R1C1 reference style? I think your point, uh, your statement is with respect to R1C1. Ganesh Gadge.
I have one small clarification, please.
Okay,
We have written a micro for this particular file named as introduction to like that, right? And in
correct.
case or with a certain data inside the with the rows and columns.
Mm,
And
mm.
in case tomorrow we are working on some other file with different, maybe heavy or lesser load of rows and column, will that we need to write a micro again for that particular file, or this particular micro will also can be worked out on that?
You can work out on that, but we will have to make it flexible. So I'll be coming to that point also. I will demonstrate that. We'll have to make it flexible. Right now, it is not really ready. So we'll have to add more elements, but this is going to be our starting point. We'll take this as a base and we will develop it. Okay, so yes, to answer your question, it may not work very well. It may have certain limitations. We'll see that. We'll come to that. Kaushalya ji, let me just demonstrate it once more. So I'll come back actually. Okay, we have this R1C1 reference style. I'll re-enable it at my end at least. Okay, see, when I refer to a cell, any cell, now I'll take this cell. What happens? I get some kind of a reference. This is relative because this is whatever you write in the square bracket. Okay, if I write here 1, 2, 3 something, not this cell. Was it this cell? Okay, why it came here? It's referring to this cell. Which cell is this? It is the third row and 11th column. So it is third row, 11th column, that cell. And why that cell is being referred? Because the expression I have entered is in fact in 6th row and 13th column. The expression is you reduce 3 rows and 2 columns. From 6th row, if I reduce 3 rows, then I get third row. From 13th column, if I reduce 2 columns, then I get 11th column. And that matches or that refers to this particular cell. Now, if I copy this and if I paste it elsewhere, maybe here, now it's no more referring to that cell. It's referring to another cell. Although the expression remains the same, but now it starts referring to another cell. How come? That's because we are now in the ninth row. So in the ninth row, with respect to the ninth row, if I do minus 3, which row will we refer to? Will refer to sixth row. Correct? So it's in the sixth row. We are right now in the 17th column. If you are in the 17th column, if you do minus 2, which column will it be? 15th column. So this is relative reference. While this expression exists, this expression will, you cannot guarantee which cell it will refer to. The expression will remain exactly the same, but it totally depends upon in which cell are you feeding this expression. If I copy this expression and if I come to another cell, now it refers this one. If I come to this cell, it refers to another cell. So the referred cell depends upon your active cell. This is relative reference. But the moment I press F4, now it's no more relative. Now it is absolute. And one quick indicator for that, one very obvious indicator for that is while you have numbers after R and C, the numbers are free from square bracket. You don't have any square brackets. R12, C14, directly without square bracket. Without square brackets means R12 is 12th row and C14 is 14th row. Now if I copy paste this elsewhere, it is still R12 C14, or more importantly, if it is this cell, okay, if I write something here, It's the same cell being referred. Even if I copy and paste it here, it is still the same cell getting referred all along because this is without square bracket. If I write C bracket 14, it will mean 14 columns ahead. 8 plus 14 will mean 22, 22nd column. But because I have written simply C14, it means the 14th column of my worksheet. 14th column of my worksheet is here, this column. Getting it? I hope it is somewhat better clear. Okay, just in case it is not completely clear as yet, I request you to hang on. Okay, don't really feel disheartened or something. Okay, because this is a new way of referring to the cells. See, right from school days, because I'm sure when you were in your school, maybe from your school days onwards, you started learning computers and probably you came across MS Office. It depends on everybody's age also. Somebody might be quite senior. But since the past few decades, okay, at least one decade, you have been using the what is known as A1 style. That is alphabetic columns, numeric rows, and then if you want to fix any row or fix any cell, then you will use dollars. So A1 becomes dollar $A, $1. All that is becoming quite has really become what you can say. It has become ingrained in you, and now we are talking about a new reference style. So you need to kind of switch. That will take time. Ganeshji, I'm not showing on Excel right now. And I just want to know one thing. Actually, I've been switching. I've been doing alt tab between Excel and MS Teams, and probably that is causing some confusion in the minds of few people. I would just like to know one thing. If I turn on Excel, do you also happen to see my face? Okay, I somehow, because we are remotely connected, right? So I get a feeling that I'm having a conversation with you when I turn on this MS Teams. Okay, this window, because at least I can see my face, so I get a feeling that we are having a conversation. But the moment this Excel file is visible, now is it only Excel file or along with Excel file my face is also visible?
Your face is
Okay, that's
also
what I'm.
visible.
Sir,
Face
we
is
can
also
see your
visible.
face.
Okay, then that's fine. Then I need not do an alt tab because the reason why I keep my camera also on is the I feel through facial expressions maybe I'll be able to convey some point a little better through along with the words and voice. Through a facial expression, one can deliver a better message, and we will get some kind of a feeling that we are in a class, although we are not physically in the same classroom, but at least virtually we are in the same class. That kind of thing. Okay, so I'll not really do an alt tab, and another reason I need to do alt tab after every few seconds is because I keep checking the chat if there is any question in the chat box. Okay. All
So
right.
where can we find files you were working on from where we can download?
Oh, that has been actually shared on the chat.
Sir
Actually,
has given on
it's,
chat.
several times it
I
has been
need
shared.
to download it.
There's this, see, exercise files. This message is there. Actually, Ashish sir has been sharing quite diligently. There is this link, exercise files for the members. It has been shared, I think, again once more. Okay, please use that link. From there you download. Even if 99 macro file not found, we won't require it immediately. So that is okay. Okay, should we move on for now? Okay, let's just finish this part. So we are at range J2 dot select. Uh, Now the second formula is, I think, better understood. Now you can understand it better. RC into square bracket minus 3 minus RC into square bracket minus 1. So pronouncing this square bracket is very important because if you simply say RC3, then it will mean third column. When you say RC square bracket 3, that means it will be 3 columns away. So how do we read this? Same row, but three columns to the left, and same row, one column to the left. In between there is minus sign. So we are taking a difference between these two cells. If I go back to Excel, there is nothing else but this formula. Okay, I hope this formula is clear to everybody. Okay, I hope you are able to follow this formula. Just hang on, even if there is some confusion, hang on. We'll be using RC notation in every session of ours. This is a very fundamental concept, R1C1 notation. Okay, and we'll be using it in every session. I'll make sure that by the end of the series, you'll be quite well versed. And if you actually take this up, macros development activity, you may end up keeping your Excel by default on R1C1. Okay, because it is very convenient cell reference format if you want to build macros. How I will demonstrate later. Now let me go to the next part. Next part is range I2 colon J2 dot select. Okay, I want to select this range I2 colon J11. Just excuse me one second. Something has come up. Just excuse me. Okay, range I2 colon J2 dot select. So it's going to select I2 and J2. I'll quickly do one thing. I'll revert to the normal notation. Okay. I'll revert to our usual notation so that you won't face any difficulty. I'll just clear this effect. Okay. So this is I2 and J2. I highlight these two cells. I think it might be clear from this sentence. The next command is selection.autofill. Selection को autofill करना है. Okay. Selection to be autofilled by what? By whatever is the formula and what is my destination from I2 to J11. Okay. So the way this command works, selection.autofill destination I2 to J11. So whatever is there in I2 and J2, that will be autofilled till J11. Okay, so I2 is your starting point and J11 is your ending point. So this is the complete range. Okay, the first cell and the last cell in the range are defined. Okay, this is nothing else but this is corresponding to that double click of mouse. And the last command, truly speaking, is range I2 colon J11 dot select. So I2 to J11, this is the range, and this gets selected. Why? Because we pressed double click here. So this is a two-in-one thing. If I double click it, not only drags, but it also highlights. So this got captured over here. And at the end of that, we pressed stop recording. So this end sub line got generated. Okay. Is this part clear to everybody?
Yes,
Okay.
it is clear.
Okay. Now there are some questions. Hirenji has a question. What will happen if data exists till 14 rows? Okay. So I'll answer this question. What if data exists till further? It will not process. Let me demonstrate this. Okay. What I'll do is I will take your question in 1 minute, but prior to that, I will just clear this. Okay, I request everyone to clear these two columns. Okay, just select I and J columns and clear them by pressing delete key. Okay, and then go to, then let's try to run this macro. So whether the macro will run for more data or no, that is a subsequent question. Whether it runs for at least this amount of data or no.
To
So a
run
code has got generated. Yeah,
macros, it was F8, no?
I'll come to that. Yeah, yeah, I'll come to that. Okay, a code has been generated. Does it work or no? Let us see. Come to developer tab. In developer tab, we have a button called macros. Can you see that? The keyboard shortcut is Alt F8. Okay, Alt plus F8. Again, I think somebody doesn't have developer tab. If you go to view tab, in view tab, we have macros where you can click on view macros. It is the same thing. Okay, view macros button over there or macros button in the developer tab. Ultimately, it will produce this window. Okay, so if you see this window, you have amount underscore verification over here. This is the macro, and then if I press the run button, then this macro will be triggered. So at least the way it has been developed, does it fundamentally run or it even refuses to take off? Let us see. So press the run button once. If you can recall this macro, highlight it and press run button. Does it work?
No, it's showing
Yeah.
this already exists.
What? This
It is
already
giving a
exists.
message, it is already exist.
But what is existing? This means what?
A file name is coming,
Hey,
and then
I think okay, you might have renamed the worksheet or something. Okay. Did you happen to rename your worksheet in the recording part?
not actually renamed. The two files have been downloaded. I think one was means two versions. No? So one is one with bracket one. It is saved. So I'll say yes.
Uh, I'm not able to understand exactly actually why this macro, why this message. Okay, you press yes. Somewhere I think your save as also got recorded. I think. Okay, probably you did not stop recording. Just go ahead with yes, no problem.
Yeah, it happened that I have
Mm.
saved the file that is
Ah,
also recorded,
that is also recorded. Okay,
but
okay. ठीक है, no
I
problem.
pressed run and said yes, but now nothing has happened.
Okay, because you have the file open in front of you. Look at the name of your file.
Same file. Okay, okay.
It
Yes,
has replaced, perhaps. Okay, your old file has been replaced. But
yes,
main thing is this column, ing. Probably you had cleared ing. Have you got something in ing
yes,
column?
yes. Those
Yeah.
columns
So
again
that is the main thing.
generated.
Again came up, right? So that's
Yes,
the point.
good.
So fundamentally, does the macro work? I think it is working. What
Yes,
about the others? Okay, the way we have written it, whether it is flexible or no is another thing, but is it running? Sanjay Kumarji, you need to come to developer tab and then click on macros button. Then select your macro and press run button. Okay. Prior to that, just do one thing. Let's imagine you don't have this data. Okay. So you remove this I and J columns. Okay. You clear them and then run the macro. Okay. I'll clear I and J. Then I'll come to developer. Then I'll click this macros button. I can see the macro. I'll highlight it and then I'll press the run button. If I do so, then these things get generated. Okay. Is something getting generated in I and J column? Are the formulas getting placed? Is it getting dragged till the bottom? Okay, that's what I desire.
Sir, I wanted to share one
Yeah.
experience.
Okay.
This same macro which we had created and recorded, I had also
Uh-huh.
given a shortcut key for that, Control M.
Okay.
So then, instead
Okay.
of going to the developer tab directly, I clicked
Yeah, you
Control
can
M.
then work with that
That got
shortcut.
executed perfectly.
Great, great. Yes, if you assign a shortcut, then it works. Okay, but then just be careful. Okay, if you accidentally press Control M, maybe you wanted to insert a new workbook, so you wanted to press Control N, but instead of N, if you end up pressing M, then the macro will get triggered. Okay, that's the only risk. You will have to be careful while pressing. Okay. And the problem with this macro is you won't be able to control its speed. Okay, you won't be
Yeah, yeah,
able to
correct,
really
correct.
stop it before you
Yeah,
even
in
realize
hardly
it.
one or two
You can
seconds, it is
understand.
over. In hardly 1 or 2 seconds,
Correct.
it's over and everything is updated.
Right, right, right. And many times what happens is in macros, undo also doesn't work. Okay, so something wrong has happened
Yeah,
and you
yeah,
try to
correct.
undo it,
I was just going to
and
ask that
undo also
question. That
doesn't
undo button is
work.
also not activated in macro.
Yeah, so that's the common experience actually. Undo doesn't work. And another thing is, so then my suggestion to everyone is because undo doesn't work in macros, you should save the file first and then run the macro. So in the worst case, if macro is giving you some unexpected results, you can always close the file without saving. Okay, because you saved the file before macro. After macro, let it do anything. But if you get some terrible results, if you close without saving, it will reproduce the file again with the same way, in the same way as it was before the macro. So that's the only indirect way of undo. Okay, indirect way of undo is close without save. So make sure to save before you run. Okay, get into that habit. Okay, fine. So far so good. Now I will take uh, query of Mr. Uh, Hiren Topiaji. Yeah, Hirenji. Now I'll take up your query. What will happen if data exists till 14 rows or maybe beyond that also? Okay. So just for the sake of demonstration, what I'll do is I'll copy some rows from here. Okay, I'll not take my amount from A column to H column. I copy this much portion and I paste it down. So let's say this is day two, and in day two, what has happened is I've got more data. Okay, now I've got more data. I let's say I clear columns I and J. Okay. Now I wish to run this. How can I run? You know that Alt F8. Okay, I copy pasted the core data and that way artificially created some more records. And now I wish to run the macro on that. When I press the run button,
The range to be changed, I think.
yeah. So this output is not sufficient and you have hit the bullseye. What we need to do is we need to change this range. See, you are not even a programmer, but you already know now where to make the changes. So that's the beauty of these Excel macros. The commands are not difficult. If you read the commands, you know English, and if you know Excel, you can understand them. You may or may not be able to compose them, and that's a skill on which we are going to work. But to begin with, we can understand from day one, right? So what we need to do, one idea is because my data runs up to 16th row, but then in the recording, whenever I did the recording, that time only 11 rows of data was there. So I can change this to 16. That could be one idea. I have changed this to 16. Okay. And then I can rerun the macro. Okay. I have made this change. I hope everybody has noted. This I have made 16. Then I clear the, I think I forgot the header. And then if I press Alt F8, run, now I've got it this way. Okay, interesting thing is because I changed only the range and didn't bother to touch the next line. So you can see the selection ends at 11th row. That selection as such is not, it's a terminal selection. It is not really impacting anything. So I may not even bother to touch that. Okay, but that's something funny. Okay, so while this goes up to 16th row, then the selection is only till 11th row.
So wherever 11 was there, uh,
Yeah,
J11. We have changed to 5. In my file
yeah,
it was
15 or
15.
16, whatever. Yeah.
Great.
Okay, either you can do it that way, but frankly, this is a semi-automatic method. Okay, this is a semi-automatic method. Why? Because will you really be doing doing it this way? Will this be the best approach, or can we make our macro a little flexible in such a way so that it picks up based on the last row? Can we identify the last row of your data? 16 rows or 1600 rows or 16,000 rows, whatever it may be. Can it pick it up by itself? And can it extend this formula till the end of that? Okay, that will be something interesting to see. Okay, we would like to do it that way. Okay. Sometimes some people consider an arbitrary number. They take a call. Okay, based on historical data, based on historical analysis, I figure out that okay, and ordinarily I have data which goes up to 1000 rows, 2000 rows, 5000 rows. Okay, in any case, in my wildest dream, it won't exceed 5000 rows. If you feel that way, you may assign an arbitrary value, let's say 10,000. So I would like to extend my formula till the 10,000th row. And I may come here and clear this. And then if I run it once more, okay, what I've done is that 16 I changed to 10,000. Why 10,000? No logic, but big enough number with great margins so that my data should get covered in any case. What happens? Now these formulas are entered. Actually, I had only 16 rows of data, but the formula continues right till the 10,000th row. If you press Control down arrow key on this column, you can see it runs up to 10,000 row. This can be another idea. Some people do it that way, but this is not a very clean method. It leaves behind too many formulas. Your file size will increase. And forget the file size, that is also okay, it won't increase drastically. But we can have a better approach, a more cleaner approach towards the whole affair, right? So this is one big issue with the recorder. Recorder is fantastic. Recorder is great to start with, but recorder is something like I feel the toddlers, infants are there when they learn walking for the first time. So they make use of the walker, or if you are riding your bicycle for the first time, if you are maybe a 5-year-old child, you are riding your bicycle for the first time. Initially, you will put those wheels, additional wheels, make it a four-wheel, not a bicycle, but maybe a quadricycle, maybe. Okay, wherein there are four wheels. But then those additional wheels, someday you need to take them away, right? And you need to learn how to balance a two-wheeled bicycle. Okay, someday we have to take that walker away so that your child can, if the child becomes 1.5 years old, whatever, then it has to learn how to walk without the walker. So the recorder is great, but slowly, steadily, we should grow beyond the recorder also. And that's precisely is going to be the objective of this series. At the end of this series, while you may not become completely skilled, but you will have a great head start and then skill will develop as you practice further. Okay. So that is the intention. All right. So how to bring about this flexibility is something I think let's better discuss that in the next class. In the next class, we will discuss about variables. So we need to learn a concept called variables. We'll have some theory discussions initially. Okay, wherein we need to get some concepts clear. So there is something called as variables, then there is something called as loops. We need to go get these concepts clear, and then we will be able to revisit this particular exercise and do it, and then probably we can bring that flexibility. Okay, so um, Anybody has any questions? We have about 15 minutes,
Sir,
but I would
one
like to take up Q&A rather than any new concept. Yeah.
sir, in your previous class also attended.
Hmm.
In that, something you have explained, I don't remember. That whenever, like, suppose from income tax side or GST side, suppose some notices are coming and we want to insert, we want to update our Excel file using that
Hmm.
insert in Excel from web option.
Uh, I'm not understanding. Are you referring to data tab? So in data tab, we have you can obtain data from web.
Yeah,
You can
yeah,
import data from web.
from web. Yeah, I'm talking about
Yeah,
that.
so you can use this feature maybe, and you can connect it. But did I happen to mention that? I doubt. But fundamentally, you can use this feature, and you can connect it to some site, maybe income tax site or any other site, and tabular data can be imported, and you can refresh this connection. So this effectively will create a connection between your Excel file and the website, and you can refresh the connection. You can even set certain properties. So you have these queries and connections. Right now, I think it will be empty. But if you create a connection, you can set the connection to auto refresh also at the minimum interval of 1 minute. Okay, at the minimum interval of 1 minute, it will keep refreshing. Or maybe if you deem appropriate, in few minutes, few hours, you can keep refreshing it.
But the
Okay, the
format
refresh will be auto refresh.
cannot be heterogeneous.
I beg your pardon. Which format cannot be
The site
handled?
format, it should be the same.
Yeah, format should be the same. Format cannot be heterogeneous. So format changes, then the format, if it changes in the site, I think you will see the revised format automatically here because it's merely catching it from the source. If it changes in the source, you will see the new thing here. Only difficulty is if you have some, so you have your table over here, okay, and beside the table, if you have put your own formulas or something, okay, there is a risk that they will get overwritten. Okay, that's the only thing. Otherwise, it's just making a replica of that. Okay, that is data import using from web. You will need minimum Office 2016 for this, for using this feature, get and transform data. Okay, this is a part of get and transform data, which was introduced for the first time in 2016 version. This is a part of a larger subject called Power Query. And this Power
I am
Query as an add-in was introduced in 2013. Okay, in 2013 you can still use it, but you will have to download and install it as an add-in. And 2016 onwards, it's a part of your Excel.
okay.
You're saying something?
No, that's okay.
Yeah. All right. So you explore this since this is a little out of topic or out of agenda. So we will not. I'm not really demonstrating it, but I've made a quick oral discussion, and you can explore this. But related to what we discussed today, related to macros, do we have any questions?
Sir,
You
I have
still have
not
something?
saved the
Yes.
file while enabling the developer on the ribbon.
Mm.
So now my undo button is disabled for the entire Excel. Can in any way we can redo it, like enable it?
Your undo got disabled.
Yeah.
Undo is disabled only at the time of macro execution. Generally, also your undo is not working. Like if you just type A, B, C something,
No, I've
then if you
tried
press
it.
Control Z,
It's not.
okay. Oh, this is news to me also. Did you happen to change any setting?
Might be like there was
What did
some
you change? Like file
say
options you changed?
they're applicable to all files. Maybe I clicked on a yes on that.
No, but what? When did it get triggered? That message.
Like I was trying to like customize ribbon with the developer tab.
Okay, just developer tab. Oh, so maybe over here something is there. Even I need to figure out. Maybe what I suggest to you is you try restarting your Excel. This works many times with Microsoft products. Completely close all Excel files and the entire Excel application and restart Excel. See if that helps. Otherwise, probably I'll also have to do some research on this and probably
Maybe
by
next one.
yeah, I can probably come up with a better answer with by next session because
And so my chat is
where
disabled. So I'm getting the link for the files. So
your chat is disabled.
yeah.
Oh,
So do you have any
okay.
Excel group?
Yeah, there are Excel groups. Uh, if you probably I can in the next thing I'll just see how I can share. Probably I'll share it with the WRC admin and they can in turn circulate. Where probably what we can do is this participants because I hope everybody has filled a Google form sheet. Okay, Google form was shared for attendance purposes. Based on that, we can create some kind of a WhatsApp group so that between the sessions, we are having sessions between Monday to Wednesday. Okay, Monday and Wednesdays, but in between also we can keep interacting. Okay,
And the
and
files, if possible, in that group, then
yeah, in
the
that group we can circulate. That
yeah,
can be
download
done
and
maybe.
But
Yeah.
Google form would also be in the chat, the Google form link. That also I'm not getting.
Ah, okay. The chat is yours. What
So
I
I want
suggest to you is perhaps you can drop an email then to WRC to this event coordinators and probably they can help you with that. And regarding because your chat is disabled, what I suggest, are you using web browser or are you using the
this is the
application?
application, yeah.
Okay, try then the browser thing. Where you can also have the session on browser. Okay, if you directly open it on your web browser itself, does it help? Just see that. Okay. So
Okay.
those are some technical points. But let me see. I think Ram Lakhanji has a question. You are not getting data autofilled option plus marks and what to do in Excel. Okay, I think you are talking about the fill handle. You are not able to enable the fill handle. This sometimes happens, when we drag it and then there is this square box, but then the square gets disabled. If it is disabled, then you go to file, then options. Okay, file options, then go to advanced. And over here we have this enable fill handle and cell drag drop. Ram Lakhanji, in your case, this option may be unticked. Okay, just above customize ribbon. We visited customize ribbon. Above that we have advanced and this third checkbox needs to be ticked. If it is not ticked, please tick it and press OK. Then it will work. Okay. Puljit ji is asking, can we insert a button for macros? Yes, we can very much insert a button for macros. Okay, so we can insert a button and we can assign the macro to that. Okay, so I think I'll demonstrate it the next time because I would like to cover both these things together. Along with the button, we can also associate it with a shape. So then buttons are there, shapes are there. Just park your query, Kulchit ji, and do remind me about that if I forget on Monday. First thing on Monday, do remind me about that, and we will discuss that because we can associate a macro to a button. We can also associate a macro to a shape, and we can also associate it with an icon and with a picture. So all these are possible. So I would just like to demonstrate all of them together. Okay. Depending upon your Excel versions, maybe some things like icons may not be there, but at least picture, button, and shape, all three are there. Okay, so we'll see that together. Just park your query. I'm deferring the discussion till Monday so that we can have a proper discussion on that. All right. All right. Any other question anybody's having? Anybody's questions? By chance, if I have missed anybody's question, okay, this is the time. Please ask me. You had extended range in VBA code. Do we have to save after change or it will be updated automatically? Naveenji, you can save it. It won't update automatically. You will have to save it. But then if you save the Excel file, it saves Excel as well as macros. If you save macro, then it saves macro as well as Excel. So there is integrity between the two. Okay, so just remember if you save anything, it saves both the Excel worksheet also and the VBA window also. But you must save it. Yeah.
We can give name to these macros, no? Because otherwise it will be macro 1, 2 like that, no?
Yeah, you should give. So we had given the name, no? Mac. I had given this name amount underscore verification.
Okay,
At my end.
okay. I might have missed it. I can rightly can rename it, no?
You can simply override this. Okay, just override this. You
Okay.
can come to the code and you can just replace the existing name with some other name. And just make sure about one thing, you cannot have spaces in between. If you wish to have a separator, then you can use underscore.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
Any other question? I would like to thank.
Yes.
Can you able to hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
I would like to thank our Nachiket Pendakar sir for his excellent presentation. I also would like to thank WRC staff for their support and all of you, because without you the webinar was not possible. One announcement I would like to make, WRC jointly with Direct Taxation Committee organizes webinar on analysis of Union Budget 2023-24 tomorrow from 6 to 8:30 p.m. So I will request you to join for that session also. If you're, and this webinar we are having on every Monday and Wednesday. Macro webinar will be there on every Monday and Wednesday from 7 to 9:30. So you can join. The link will be the same. If there is any change, we will inform you accordingly. Thank you and good night to all.